big little legs. Skinny kid with plenty.
Yo, what's up, YouTube? It's ZTAY, aka Lil Red. We got the Warriors are now jumping ship by the man JimmerRange. Go subscribe to him if you guys haven't. Before we get started though, remember to hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, turn on post notifications. Let's get into it, man.
The Warriors have the best point guard in the NBA, coming off one of the best seasons of his career. As of right now, they still have all their core pieces from the league's biggest modern dynasty. They've got young assets like Jordan Poole and Jonathan Kuminga. So why are we seeing their general manager Bob Myers part ways with the team, and reports suggest head coach Steve Kerr could be next? Bob Myers has been praised as one of the league's best executives, and it's hard to argue with his success. The team has 4 NBA titles with him at the helm. But what did he contribute? Now, a key detail that's often forgotten is that Bob Myers arrived in 2012. They already had Clay, they already had Curry. He made some great moves, drafting Draymond, Looney, and Jordan Poole, trading for Iguodala, but also some not so great ones, drafting James Wiseman 2nd overall, being at the top of that list. And his legacy got saved on...
Let me be honest about this one, the James Wiseman one. I think every single person was thinking the same thing. Like, Warriors should get James Wiseman. Big man, best big man in the draft. Warriors need a big man. I don't think it is his fault for drafting James Wiseman, to be honest. I just feel like they just didn't. James Wiseman's going to be a good player. The Warriors just, they couldn't work it out with him for some reason. I don't know if they don't have the training staff or what.
Drafting James Wiseman 2nd overall, being at the top of that list. And his legacy got saved on several occasions. In author Ethan Strauss's book, The Victory Machine, he goes over the time that the then assistant GM Myers tried to trade both Curry and Clay for established stars multiple times. An official offer was actually sent to New Orleans for Chris Paul. Then in 2014,
I did not know that. He tried to trade Stephen Curry and Klay Thompson for Chris Paul in 2011.
times. An official offer was actually sent to New Orleans for Chris Paul. Then in 2014, just a year before the Warriors would go on to bring home their first NBA title, he tried to trade Clay to Minnesota for Kevin Love before Jerry West stepped in and stopped the deal.
Yeah, I know a lot of Warriors fans saying that without Jerry West, or ever since Jerry West left or something, I don't know. But they're just pretty much saying that a lot of, you know, the success is because of Jerry West. But so he was trying to trade David Lee, Klay Thompson, and a first-round pick for Kevin Love and Kevin Martin. But at the time, to be fair, Kevin Martin and Kevin Love were really good at the time. But I don't think he knew what Clay would be. Good thing they stopped him, though.
A case can be made that their most recent front office success story, turning D'Angelo Russell into Andrew Wiggins, was actually kind of on accident. For one, they were only able to get D'Angelo Russell due to a unique circumstance where when Kevin Durant decided to leave them and go to Brooklyn, they were able to turn that into a sign and trade for D'Angelo Russell, someone they wouldn't have been able to sign in free agency. Then they sent him to Minnesota, and while looking back, it seems like it was for Andrew Wiggins. That's not the case at all. At the time, the main asset the Warriors were getting in return was the Timberwolves' projected top pick, which ended up becoming number 7. Andrew Wiggins had to be included in this deal due to salary matching purposes. He was considered one of the worst contracts in the league.
That's crazy, man.
Including the Warriors, thought they were getting the player they ended up.
That's true.
Now, they ended up making the move. We've got to give them credit for that, but the context needs to be there. Regardless of what could have happened, Myers walked away rather unscathed. 4 rings on his hand and considered by most one of the premier executives. But it's very clear he is human. He doesn't have magical powers, and it appears he didn't want to sign up for this next phase of Golden State.
Bob Myers could have stayed in Golden State, been paid among the highest executives in the NBA. I think ultimately he knows what goes into the job, how taxing it is. Certainly a lot of challenges ahead for the Warriors, and ultimately could not get to a place where he thought he was ready to take all that on, invest all that needed to be invested.
That is likely what happened. Yes, his contract came to an end, and it seems negotiations didn't go great, but Myers was likely asking for an absurd deal given his leverage. So what they ended up deciding to do was frame this almost like a retirement. Myers gets to go out on top, but let's make it very clear, this is not the last we'll see of the 48-year-old in the NBA, despite it almost being framed like that. He won't have to wait long. He will be one of the most sought-after executives on the market. It's just probably
a lot of people are talking about that right now.
So close to both the draft and free agency. Now, why would he not want to stick around in a
Some
situation
people talk
that
about the
still might
Clippers.
have a
Gilbert
championship
Arenas
left
said
in it? Well, sometimes, even though the boat hasn't sinked, even though it doesn't even have a hole yet, when a cannonball is headed its way, it's probably best to jump. The Warriors are in a financial pickle unlike anything the league has ever seen.
Facts,
before.
they are.
Right now, their salary for
their
next
salary
season
is horrible,
a little shy
bro.
of $212 million.
They're the second worst team in
Even a
salary.
complete roster. For context, the NBA salary cap next season is $134 million.
Oh my
but that's not
God.
even what's crazy. The more you go over the salary cap and the more consecutive years you continue to do that, you have to pay luxury
tax.
For the Warriors next season, that's expected to be in the range of $270 million. So yes, to keep this team, while just a year removed from a title, also just a month removed from a second round exit, would cost this team nearly $500.
He's playing chess, not checkers. He knows how much money they're in. He don't want to come back because the Draymond Green and the Jordan Poole situation, he don't want to be the one to get rid of that situation. All the drama about to happen. Klay Thompson's getting older with Draymond being a free agent. Klay got to get a re-sign. He's not looking like he's worth it. So he said, you know what? I know we can't afford. I know the Warriors can't afford it because they got to pay all this money. Let me just offer him something super high so it's the pressure's off me. It doesn't make me look like a quitter. It makes me look like, damn, the Warriors just can't offer me enough.
Million.
I'm just playing. That's the narrative that they're probably going to put, though.
Unsustainable.
But yeah, their contracts are horrible, media, bro.
You'll see all these crazy trades surrounding the Warriors, whether that be Cat or
exactly
Jaylen Brown. But any trade
Please
like
say
this
it.
is only going to make their situation
even
tougher.
Thank you.
The championship win.
For all the Warriors fans trying to trade for another star, I don't think you guys realize the only reason you guys are able to have every player you have on your team right now is because they were homegrown. You drafted them, so that means you could overpay them and go over the salary cap. But when you do sign and trades or you trade big players and different contracts like this, you're gonna get hard capped. You can't do it. You're not gonna have any money left over. You guys already you're gonna lose Stephen Curry in 2 years. You're not gonna be able to re-sign Klay Thompson. Draymond, you're not gonna be able to afford him. So that's the thing that you gotta remember.
They don't need to make a move like that in order to get this team back into serious contention. But there is no getting around the fact the window is shrinking and rapidly.
That's true.
It's such a tough spot that the young core that many have spent the last couple years hyping up are most likely some of the first casualties. Case in point being James Wiseman. The team has nearly an entire NBA salary cap dedicated to Stephen Curry, Andrew Wiggins, and Jordan Poole in 2026. They also have Klay Thompson and Draymond Green approaching the conclusion of their contracts. Draymond's got a player option this season, something that likely will get declined. He's going to be on the hunt for a max
He wants
extension.
that money.
Something Klay is going to be seeking as well as soon as this summer.
Extension for Klay.
It's actually possible we see these contracts handed out, which is dangerous territory. This team is already one of the most dependent on a single player as things currently stand today.
Yeah, that window's getting short, bro.
This team was absolutely atrocious with him off the court this season. It was a headache for not only the Warriors, but fans watching to figure out what the end of this rotation should be. On top of that, even if they resolved their depth issues, their core...
I actually disagree with that. I feel like they played pretty good without Steph Curry. Like, sometimes with Steph Curry, they weren't playing good. Like, there was a little stretch they struggled without Steph, but then Klay and Poole got in a rhythm, so...
Doesn't have much left.
But I know what he's saying.
Curry hasn't slowed down. That's a great sign. But let's not forget, there's very few players in league history that were even decent at 35 years old. He's a top 5 player in the league right now, and it seems like that will be the case for a minute. But at this age, once things go downhill, it happens quickly. Klay's already dealt with multiple serious injuries. He's still a great shooter, but by no means the defender he once was. He's also 33 years old. Draymond brings nothing as a scorer, but he's a great playmaker and defender.
Yep.
He will be one of the best playmakers in the league till the day he retires.
Exactly.
But at 33 years old, it's hard to say how many years are left with his defense at this level.
Yeah.
On top of all this, you've got younger teams like the Nuggets, the odds-on favorites to win the title,
with a deep contract,
with their entire starting unit under contract for at least 2 more years.
Damn.
The Warriors stock is coming down. In general, the rest of the West is flying up. This is a task no general manager wants to take on, especially one that's already proved himself in the eyes of many. The next man for the job still has a lot of work to do, even with his current roster. That was evident during the playoffs, and extremely when Curry had to go to the bench. But he'll also have to deal with the insane headache that comes with dealing with the luxury tax. And these two things often contradict each other. They will be put in positions where they have to escape contracts for players that actually bring value to this team solely for financial reasons. It's a GM job that even done right will still look like a failure. Bob Myers gains nothing from sticking around. Then, on top of all of that, you add a new collective bargaining agreement, which is coming in 2024.
It's gonna hurt the Warriors.
This makes things even tougher.
CBA agreement's gonna hurt the Warriors, bro.
The league is cracking down. In this new agreement, the Warriors would not have the taxpayer mid-level exception, which is what they used to bring in Dante DiVincenzo. They couldn't sign any players from the buyout market, like we just saw Miami do to get Kevin Love. They couldn't send out cash for draft picks like they did to acquire Jordan Bell a few years ago. They won't be able to send any draft picks more than 6 years out in the future. And they can't make any trade where they had to take on more salary than they give out, a rule that would have prevented them from getting Andrew Wiggins, the player that reinvigorated this team's title chances. So yeah, this GM job is going to be one.
Hey, I did it. I rebuilt him and won a championship.
And worries about what's ahead also apply to head coach Steve Kerr, maybe even more so, leading to the increasingly more likely scenario he parts ways with the Warriors, and fairly soon.
If you could coach this team for 5-10 more years, would you take that deal right now?
I mean,
similar to Myers, Steve Kerr was in the right place at the right time. I don't think anyone wants to take away from what he's done, but his direct impact is a little deceiving. Kerr joined the team ahead of the 2014-2015 season, a season in which the Warriors would bring home the title.
Why can I not think
but the year prior, they were still a 51-win
Mark Jackson
team
got that team
went to
right.
the second round. The more credit you decide to give Steve Kerr here, the more you take away from the jumps from what was a very young core at the time. Steve Kerr is a great coach. He's now added 4 rings on top of the 5 he had as a player. And while still great, it is safe to say he walked in to an amazing scenario.
He did walk into a great scenario, because you think about it, when Luke Walton was the interim and they were 25-0, they made Luke Walton look like the damn coach of the year because their team was so damn good. You do got to give Steve Kerr's credit, because that last championship run last year was very impressive, because they didn't have Kevin Durant. They killed all their narratives. They beat the Celtics.
That remained to this day, excluding a couple injury years.
I'm completely aware that the only reason I've been here 9 years is that I get to coach one of the all-time great players and human beings in NBA history.
But as we've alluded to, it doesn't take a genius to see the future ahead doesn't look nearly
it's crazy.
As bright.
Coaches
even in the
just
present,
don't last that long. It's messed up, bro.
The playoffs made that very
They're
clear.
the scapegoat.
There wasn't a team moving their rotation around more than Golden State in the first 2 rounds. They decided to eliminate Kuminga's role, give Moody a new role, switch the starters on multiple occasions.
They did.
It was a headache.
Yeah, it was.
Kerr was having a hard time getting a lot of the recent draft picks on the court, especially in the playoffs.
You know how age works. This team is, I think, is still capable of competing for a championship, but it's not going to be capable for that much longer. But generally speaking, a long tenured coach is beholden to someone like Steph Curry.
Right now, he's in a situation where just a year removed from a title, very little criticism is coming his way. But the position is clearly tough, even with this current group, and it's only going to get tougher. Today's league is extremely reactionary when it comes to coaching.
Yes.
Few teams look to go the route of the Heat and Spurs. Leashes on coaches are shorter than they've ever been.
Bro.
Guys are getting fired left and right.
It's insane. It's bad.
So
like, honestly, we fans can't do shit. But come on, bro. Like, the NBA needs to be doing something. Like, these coaches should not be getting fired after like Budenholzer gets fired, Nick Nurse gets fired, Monty Williams getting fired, like these Doc Rivers getting fired. I can understand some of them, but it's always the playoff coaches that get fired and not the non-playoff teams. That just don't sit right with me. The teams that are struggling the most, don't ever fire the damn coaches. Like in any other sport, NFL, baseball, if you're a coach, if you are not a good team and you guys only win a couple games during the season, you don't have a good season, you're more than likely to get fired. In the NBA, it's the opposite. If you have a very good season, you overexceed expectations or you meet them, and then you get in the playoffs and you don't win the championship and you lose earlier in the playoffs, your coach gets fired. It's crazy. It's crazy to me.
There's probably a shorter
and
life expectancy.
Like Monty Williams getting fired just does not make sense to me, bro.
The NBA championship winning coaches from 2019, 2020,
they all have coach of the years. Like Dwayne Casey got coach of the year and then fired the next year.
Even a guy like Monty Williams, who's been constantly praised as this great coach, He gets fired following a season that was completely riddled with
Injuries, bro. Like, I don't get it.
With a complete roster-altering trade just a couple months prior.
Too much
Somehow,
expectations.
This is put on Monty Williams. We've reached the point.
That's the danger of getting star players on your team and increasing expectations, trading for star players. Like if the Lakers were to trade for Kyrie Irving and have that big three, Darvin Ham's leash would be a lot shorter, meaning if we don't win it all, he's fired. It's crazy. The thought, I think maybe Steve Kerr is a result of this because they gave Kerr this good team and he won with them. So now that's the expectation. If you don't meet it, then it's your fault. Not the player's fault, it's your fault. I just don't get that.
Where when a team falls short of expectations, the front office doesn't want to blame or fire themselves for what they put on the court. So it's the coach that goes.
He's saying the same thing I was saying.
What would happen to Kerr? But in such reactionary times and seeing what's ahead for the Warriors, maybe his job would never be at risk, but the sentiment surrounding him could drastically shift. So seeing the perfect opportunity stare you in the face, it's hard not to jump on it. The San Antonio Spurs are one of the most respected franchises in the league, a franchise that has stood by its head coach Greg Popovich for nearly 30 years now, but they will soon be looking for his replacement.
NBA history.
At 74 years old, Popovich has made it very clear his career is coming to an end.
74
it seemed like that was
is
going to be
crazy.
this season, but now it's seeming more likely he's going to stick it out for another year. That just so happens to perfectly align with the conclusion of Kerr's contract with Golden State.
Damn.
Right now, reports and rumors suggest
that
he is the front runner to fill in for Pop Shoes. It's a perfect scenario for him. He gets to save face.
Test and see if he's really a good coach.
San Antonio always had a special place in my heart from the seasons I spent with him as a player. It sounds good, but in reality, he's jumping off a sinking ship. Going to a team that's excitement surrounding it is a reason Pop probably wants to give it another year.
Yeah.
99% of that excitement is coming from this.
That means that the #1 pick in the
It's crazy how much a draft prospect can change everything, like LeBron or
the Spurs are weeks
Jordan,
away from selecting someone with the #1 overall pick,
Iverson.
a selection that will get them the best prospect of a generation. Some even bold enough to say all time.
That's crazy.
Victor Wembanyama. 7'4", complete freak of nature. The skill
I'm so
and speed
excited
of a
to
wing with
watch the
defensive
draft,
ability
man.
you've just never seen
That's what I'm
before.
looking forward to
Even
the
if he
most.
becomes a fraction of the
Be
player
honest, 22nd,
it appears he
man.
can be,
Oh
things
my God.
look very, very good for San Antonio. It's not a crazy core outside of Wemby. They've got some solid guys.
I like Keldon Johnson,
and
Devin Vassell,
but they're in a beautiful
Jeremy
financial situation.
Sohan.
And after trading
Even though
DeJounte
I'm
Murray
mad
a
at
year
him
ago,
talking
they're also in a
trash
great
on the
position
Lakers.
from a pick pool standpoint. It's hard not to envision the Spurs having a great future ahead.
Malachi.
Who wouldn't want to coach this team? Now, we're yet to see Wembanyama out there on the court, but that's not a problem for Steve Kerr. If for some reason he's not the player we all think he is, Kerr will know that by the time his contract is up. The really interesting question is, in that event, would Kerr still be coming back to Golden State?
Ooh, what do you guys think? Or you think Steve Kerr is done when the Warriors start playing
out
bad?
there on the court.
If Vic is not good, not how everybody is expecting him to be, Pop is retired, and Golden State is sinking, what does Steve Kerr do? And also, how you guys feel about this video? Let your thoughts be heard down below in the comments. For any Warriors fans, how you guys feel about the future of this franchise? And if you guys did remember, or if you guys did like this video, remember to hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, turn on post notifications. Oh yeah, by the way, go like and support JimmerRange's channel, the ZTAY. Peace.